Welcome to Heart Stories, a podcast proudly brought to you by the Caulfield Grammarians Association. I'm your host, Doreen Brown, and this season we celebrate the journeys, passions, and values of remarkable individuals, many of whom share a connection to the Caulfield community. This series is a platform for heartfelt conversations that shine a light on creativity, leadership, and a sense of community that define extraordinary lives. At Heart Stories, we believe every achievement begins with a story. Together, we'll uncover the challenges, milestones, and lessons that have shaped our guests. Through their insights, we'll explore how shared values and a commitment to making a difference inspire both individuals and communities to thrive. So thank you for joining us. Settle in, open your mind, and get ready to discover stories that inspire, empower, and unite. This is Heart Stories. Let's begin. This episode of Heart Stories, we're thrilled to welcome Hollia Lam. Hollia Lam is the principal solicitor and founder of Lamco, a boutique Australian law firm focused on property, business, and asset protection. A proud Caulfield Grammar School alumna, Hollia graduated from the Caulfield campus in 2009, where her experience as an international student gave her a strong sense of belonging and community that continues to shape her career and values. Today, she works closely with entrepreneurs, investors, and families to help them build, protect, and grow wealth with clarity and confidence. Beyond law, Hollia is a multi-business owner in the fitness and wellness space and a mum of her young son, Ethan, as well as a passionate community builder who believes legal advice should feel human, empowering, and accessible. So welcome to Heart Stories. It's an absolute honour to have you join us.
Thank you for having me. It's my absolute privilege to be part of this conversation as well. Returning to Caulfield Grammar community in this way feels deeply meaningful. When I was a student, I never imagined that one day I would be invited back to reflect on my journey. At the time, I was simply trying to find my place, learn and grow. Being here now feels like a quiet, full circle moment.
Absolutely. Now, to kick things off, could you take us back to your time at the Caulfield campus? And as an international student, what are your fondest memories of arriving at the school and finding your place within the community?
Sure. When I first arrived at Caulfield campus as an international student, I carried a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. Moving to a new country at a young age is not simply a change of schools, it's a change of environment, culture, expectation, and identity. You arrive knowing that you are different and you hope that the difference will be welcome. What I remember most clearly is how quickly that uncertainty softened. There was a genuine warmth in the school environment. Teachers were attentive and encouraging. Students were open and kind. Gradually, the unfamiliar began to feel familiar. So, for a young person navigating in a new country, the experience of not feeling judged is impactful. It allows confidence to grow quietly and naturally, I would say.
Yeah, fabulous. And that is the sentiment of a lot of students that have attended Caulfield Grammar School. So thank you so much for sharing that experience. As you said, moving to a new country and to a new school is a huge transition. How did the environment at Caulfield Grammar School really help you settle in? And in what ways did that supportive culture shape your confidence as a young person?
I would say if I can use a memory that I have, it would be the International Week. It's probably my strongest memory at the school. It was more than a celebration of culture. It was a clear message that diversity was valued and respected. Different languages, tradition, and perspective were visible and embraced. We would go on stage and be encouraged to dance and sing different culture songs in different languages. For an international student, that experience carries deep significance. It communicates that you do not need to diminish your background in order to belong. You can bring your whole self into the community. That message shaped my understanding of inclusion long before I encountered it professionally, right? And the other, I would say, memory that I have to answer your questions, which I think it's easier to explain, would be the ESL lessons that we had. And we study a subject called identity and belonging, and it influenced a lot in how I grow up in Australia as an immigrant.
Yeah.
Its influence has stayed with me throughout my life, basically.
Yeah.
At the time, it felt like a reflective academic subject, but in a hindsight, it was far more significant. It encouraged us to consider who we are, how we evolve, and how we connect with others. It taught me that identity is not fixed,
Yeah.
especially with, I mean, a lot of, second immigration generation in Australia. It's something we grow into, and belonging is not about being the same. So it is about acceptance during the process of growth, and that lessons have shaped how I see people, clients, and communities.
Yeah, what a beautiful foundation. And I love that it's acceptance, but not necessarily having to change who you are, but being part of that community as that international student.
Yeah,
Yeah. And again, you've mentioned being part of that community and really feeling like part of that community during your time at the school. How important was that sense of belonging for you then? And do you see that same value of community building reflected in how you run your businesses today?
absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even imagine that I would achieve what I have today.
Yeah.
I didn't leave the school knowing that or plan that. I left something quieter, in many ways more powerful. I left with the belief that I was allowed to try.
Yeah.
So I think that was the most powerful thing that I've left school. And that mindset gave me the permission to step into unfamiliar spaces without uncertainty.
Yeah.
And it has been my like the fundamental of my mindset in every step of my career. When I first entered into the legal profession, I quickly realized that many people approach law with hesitation and fear, which is kind of what you're trained with to
Yeah.
be a good lawyer. You need to be scared of what people come back with. And clients often feel intimidated. They apologize for asking questions. They worry that their concerns are too small and that they should already understand the process. So I found that kind of, confronting because seeking legal guidance shouldn't feel intimidating or embarrassing. And because, Caulfield Grammar has shaped me for who I am, foundation of how I present myself and understand clients, I can say it's pretty different to some of the lawyers out there. Whether someone is purchasing their first home or structuring a complex business, their concerns are significant to them. It changes their life. So that alone make them worthy of careful and, thoughtful legal support to be provided. So I wanted to create a firm where people feel comfortable asking questions, where they felt hurt and where they felt respected as a human. And
Yeah.
this foundation tracked my experience, all the way back to Caulfield Grammar. And community does not like emerge by accident. It created intentionally, right? So when I look around my client, it's almost like, okay, it's kind of something that I created, not just, it falls on me. So the lessons I learn about belonging at school continue to influence how I build those spaces today.
Yeah. I love that it's intentional community. As you said, it doesn't happen by accident. It's something that's created, and you've now been able to forge that within your own businesses. And I'm sure your clients feel super comfortable and more confident in being able to access your services, which is which is amazing. Now, can you share a story about how tapping into the CGA community and into this multi-generational network has benefited your career and opened doors in the legal industry?
Absolutely. I mean, I've met quite a few, I wouldn't say mentor, but they are, someone who you can just be open, share ideas with, and just know that, okay, everyone's kind of on the same path, like,
Yeah.
going through some stuff. And it not only the teacher, like I whenever I go back, I'd still, talk to the teacher and everything. But the CGA community has a lot of events going on. Like I am part of the athletic group where I did running with a lot of alumni who I never met before.
No.
And what I can say is sometimes work is it's a big part of your life, but it's not the only part. So the running part of it took me back to remind myself that this is also an important part of your life. And you can see, I met some really successful people through, just the athletic club
Yeah.
and knowing that everyone is also doing their job and working really hard. And
Yes.
here they are, they're on the track running. And then, I mean, I really want to try the golf event, but I still haven't got the time yet, which is on what's to do list. I think, because of this community, like it opens up a lot of doors for you, like how you want to utilize it, ask questions on how do you juggle having your great career and enjoying yourself with marathon events. Like it's a question that you can actually ask those people now because otherwise I don't know how to find a person like that to
That's
ask
it. Yeah,
them.
absolutely. And I love that. I love that you've been able to, yeah, find people that are like-minded, but also inspirational, because running a business and being an entrepreneur can sometimes be quite isolating and a lonely experience. So having some of that common ground is definitely something of absolute, true value. And you founded Lamco with a vision to make legal advice feel human, empowering, and accessible. Was there any specific moment or realization in your early career that made you want to break away from traditional law firm models and start your own boutique practice?
Yes, I do because if you've met enough lawyer, you would know that lawyers just have a very specific way of doing things and they want you to just stay in the box.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it has destroyed a lot of my creativities. And being creative, it's not a bad thing. But I think in general, a good lawyer, is supposed to smile, for example. You don't expect to go to a law firm seeing people smiling.
Right.
And I'm like, why is it like that? We should be there to give confidence to say that, hey, look, it's stressful, but we can deal with it. It's part of your life. I should be part of that and I'll help you out. So when I founded Lamco, it was built around a simple but important belief that no legal issues is too small or too large to deserve respect and clarity. And we should be human about it. I wanted to create a firm where people feel comfortable asking questions and it served the purpose. And law is often perceived as technical and distance in a certain extent
Cold or,
or
yeah.
cold. As I said, you
Yeah.
don't expect to go to a law firm seeing your lawyer smiling at you, right? Every time I say that, people laugh, and I'm like, "Yeah, have you ever thought about how the lawyer is feeling?"
Yeah.
Law exists really to support people's, homes, family, livelihoods, and future.
Yeah.
And legal advice should provide clarity, it should build confidence, it should empower decision making. So I strongly believe that you can be professional and empathetic. It can coexist. And this is kind of my value towards building this firm.
Yeah, and it's also what makes you different as well from other firms. Now, beyond being a principal solicitor, you're also a multi business owner in the fitness and wellness space. How do these different passions complement each other? And do you find that your legal background gives you a unique edge in this industry?
Absolutely. It's a very long story, but it could be another episode about the story. But in short, I basically one day woke up at 6 on my way, winter, dark night in the morning, walking over to my workout. And I thought, it could be pretty hard for someone to wake up this early
Yeah.
and work on themselves. But I want to remind myself that although I'm a professional lawyer doing important stuff every day, I need to be well. And it's not wrong to want to work on yourself and be well.
Mhm.
And especially for corporate people, like they need to be reminded. And I want to spread the message out that your mental health and well being so important. And that's how it all started and got into the business. But
Yeah.
now, having run businesses also helped me with understanding clients' needs from the business law perspective because running a business is really different to just giving a legal advice. Hey, Doreen, you need to do this. This is the legal advice for you.
Mm.
But if you don't really understand the whole picture of everything else that the client is dealing with, okay, the sales that she might be worrying about, the staff that is helping her with what she's gonna get through. Like it's kind of every lawyer can give you that one piece legal advice of the specific issue that you
Yeah.
ask, but not everyone can understand the whole picture and really give you a commercial resolution. And for me, I'm very grateful that because of those businesses, I can understand it and give better advice, actually.
It's all connected, and you've got to experience it before you can really understand, I guess, what the other person is going through as well. And having that knowledge and experience and just exposure to it, as you said, can help you really support your clients in a way that maybe some other firms just don't have that same ability or empathy or understanding. So, love that. As a mum to your son Ethan, how has motherhood influenced your perspective on business legacy and the advice you give to families about protecting their future?
Becoming a mother has shaped my perspective. It has changed you completely. It has deepened my understanding of course, responsibility, legacy, and long term planning. And the decisions we make today shape the lives of the next generation.
Yeah.
This has also, I'll say, strengthened my commitment to help family and business owner protecting their future with clarity and confidence. It's not easy to be a mom running businesses, and especially when he just started talking. And the other day I was having meeting, he was banging on the door. He now know how to pronounce my name, and he was like, "Hollia." I think it's kind of funny as well, but
Yeah.
it's things that, you need to start thinking about, like, okay, how do I balance this? Because at the same time, you don't want to miss out on any moment of their growth and you want to enjoy it rather than having it feel stressful.
Exactly.
And I feel very pleased and blessed that I'm in a position where I can choose and pick my time on certain things. Yes, I work till late sometimes. Last night I worked till 1 a.m., but it's a payoff. Like during the day, I get to play with him and I get to enjoy Chinese New Year's dinner with my
Yes.
family. Yes, at night I have to catch up with work because that's my responsibility. So it makes me stronger, like a lot stronger than what I could ever imagine myself to be. Before him, I could run a marathon.
Yeah.
That was the peak. But after having him, I actually did my first triathlon for the first time.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And he's the reason, not the excuse. Yeah.
Love that. The reason, not the excuse. Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
sure he looks up to you and yeah, it's just a whole different part of life, right? And that you have never experienced in any other way through schooling or through career, but it's the most important job that you will ever have, I think as well.
absolutely.
Yeah. Now, for current international students at Caulfield Grammar School who are currently navigating life in a new country, what advice would you give to them to help make the most of their time at the school and to build those lasting connections?
To the current international student, my message is simple. You do not need to have everything figured out. I didn't. You do not need a perfectly defined path either. I also didn't have one. What matters is curiosities, openness, and willingness to step outside of your comfort zone. Growth rarely happens in familiar spaces. And the fact that you have the opportunity to be in these unfamiliar spaces, it's your opportunity to showcase and feel what is coming.
Yeah.
The connections and experience you build during this time will shape your future in ways you cannot imagine and you cannot see yet. So embrace it and just enjoy the moment. And when I reflect, I don't see a single defining moment. It's a
Yeah.
series of small decision making.
Yeah. And was there any one, I guess, as you said, there's no defining moment, but was there an experience in particular that you can share from your time at the school that you can fondly remember as one of your, yeah, memories of it, of attending Caulfield Grammar School?
Absolutely. It's just a lot of small moments that I can remember. I compared to my personality now, I look back, my personality was actually quite reserved and I wasn't that outspoken and well, I can never imagine myself doing a podcast like
Yeah.
at the time. So I just remember teacher always pop their heads in to check in on me. Like I was trying to hide in corners with another two international student friends to have lunch away from crowd or, at a big space. But there's always a teacher that pops in and be like, "Hey, how you guys going? You guys enjoying lunch? Like what's in your mind?" And you just feel so looked after,
Yeah.
welcome, and not that not that you need to hide because, it's welcomed. And I,
Yeah.
I think because of that, like eventually, you feel more willing to open up because there's someone who wants to listen to you. And as a kid, that's just so important. I didn't even know how important it was. And now, I have to think about my kids' schooling and cover grammar is definitely like the way to go because of how willing the teacher will put an effort into checking in.
Yeah. And it is absolutely something unique to the school. I had a completely different experience, but I love hearing the stories from Caulfield because everyone again has that same, common theme that they felt really supported, really welcomed, and their teachers were definitely there to help through that whole process as well, which is very unique, which is great. Now, looking to the future, you've accomplished so much since graduating in 2009. As you look ahead, what is your vision for the next chapter of your career, both in law and other ventures? And how do you hope to continue contributing to the Caulfield community?
Not sure if you want me to get started. I have a lot of
Go
ideas.
for it.
But looking ahead, let's put it this way, my aspiration is not reinvention, but continuation to keep building spaces where people feel supported rather than judged, to continue contributing to community that help shape me. And doing things like being part of this conversation is one of those moments of connection and what I would want to be doing more. I have a lot of whenever I sit still, I cannot sit still. My head will just start just ramping up with ideas. And the other day, I'm like, it would be good to start, a club for women who are business owners and want to share their experience of running a business as well as having kids, because that's another day of me thinking I felt a bit lonely when I was having kids and running a business, as well as after giving birth. And I felt like no one can really share the similar conversation of a business owner, of a woman who just gave birth to a
Yeah.
baby. So I thought, like there's a lot of things in my head that I think it's it's needed in the society that I would love to grow as well. But yeah, as I said, it's a continuation of what it's already happening, not really reinventing.
I love that. That's so good. Well, Hollia, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us today and being part of the Heart Stories podcast. We truly appreciate it and wish you all the very best with your future ventures and also seeing you again.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me back to share this story.
Wonderful. Thank you, Hollia. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Heart Stories. A heartfelt thank you to our guests for sharing their story, wisdom, and passion with us today. Their insights remind us of what makes creativity, leadership, and community so impactful in shaping meaningful lives. Brought to you by the Caulfield Grammarians Association, this podcast celebrates the shared values that unite us and inspire us to grow, connect, and lead with purpose. We hope today's conversation has sparked reflection on your own story and the legacy you're building. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an inspiring story. Share it with your friends, family, or anyone who could use a dose of inspiration. And be sure to join us next time for another powerful conversation with a guest who has a story worth telling. But until then, take care, stay curious, and continue making an impact. This is Heart Stories. See you next time.